In this video, I will briefly show you a few things so you can quickly work out your first case. Let's say you want to have the symptom that the patient is very sensitive to cold air to his head. So I know it's located in the chapter head and I know exactly where it is. Then you can use the second icon. This is also on the keyboard, the F2 function. It is find a rubric where if you know where it is. So I can click on it or on the keyboard press F2. Then I can select the chapter head. I want cold, so I click on the C. I say cold, air, aggravate, OK, and I am back to the repertory window. Now by using the keyboard goes much quicker. You do not need to click anywhere. Just on the keyboard start to type the first characters of the chapter. So start to type head, H-E-A, enter. Then cold, C-O-L, enter. Air, enter. Aggravate. So I just need to type A. Now I will show you this icon, this button has a thicker line. It means it's the default button. So if on the keyboard you press enter, you do the OK button. So I press enter and then I press again enter and I'm back to the repertory. Now I want to take this rubric into my clipboard number 1. These are my symptom clipboards. I have 10. But usually you only use 1, especially in the beginning. But for example, you could use the symptom 1 for all the chronic symptoms and number 2 for the acute symptoms. Or there are people who do the mind symptoms in number 1, the generalities in number 2 and the physicals in number 3. But there are many possibilities. But for now I concentrate on just taking all symptoms into one clipboard. I just point to the word aggravate and I drag and drop it to the first clipboard and I let go. And you see that I have one symptom into clipboard number 1. So let's take another symptom. Let's take that the head is very sensitive to draft, so to a draft of air. Just start to type on the keyboard head, enter, draft of air. I press enter, I press again enter and I go back to the repertory and I see I came to an empty rubric which we call a referring rubric. Now I can do two things. I can double click on the referring rubric, see air aggravate, or on the keyboard just press enter. So I just press enter and see I jump to the correct rubric. Now I've already shown you how to take a rubric by drag and drop. So you just point to the text of the rubric and you drag and drop to the clipboard and let go. I will not do it in this time, so I let go. I will want to show you these buttons. This is the general take icon. This is take the current symptom with an intensity 1. Take the current symptom with the intensity 2, intensity 3, intensity 4. So if I do intensity 1, it's the same as drag and drop. So if you drag and drop rubrics, they have an intensity 1. So if I click on it, you see that I have now 2 symptoms in clipboard 1. Now let's say I want to search for a symptom which I do not know exactly where it is in the repertory and I want to see which possibilities I have. So for example, I have a person who is very sensitive to noise, extremely sensitive to the sound of noise. Now I press here on the keyboard on the function key F4 or click on this icon and I can just start to type. I do not need to click anywhere, just start to type on the keyboard. For example, the word sensitive. Now you see that I come to this word. We call this root words and these we call branches. if I press enter, it will automatically take the root word. So I press enter. You see that the root word sensitive is taken. Now, let's say I want to take another word. I do not need to click anywhere. Just start to type on the keyboard the second word. So noise. And I press enter again. So you see I've selected sensitive and noise. And if there are root words, it means that all the variations are automatically searched also. So for example here, if I click on abandon, it will search on the root word abandon, including these words. If I click on one of these branch words, it will only search on that word. So I have selected already these two words. Now I want to search through the whole repertory, any rubric with these two words. I can click on the button search, or on the keyboard just press enter because it has a thicker line. So I press enter. So I come to this window where I see I have 17 symptoms found. So I see, for example, a large rubric, mind sensitive to noise. I see mind sensitive to noise, to the slightest noise. So maybe that's what I want. Now this icon also shows you all the sub-rubrics. So if I press on it, I see all the sub-rubrics from the found rubrics. I click again, so I have only a short list. So let's say I want to go to the slightest noise. I just double click on it and I go back to the repertory to this rubric. Again, to take this rubric I can drag and drop. So just point to the text of the rubric and drag it to clipboard number 1 and let go. Or whatever you prefer, you can use the icons in the top icon bar. Or another method is on the keyboard. If you have a large keyboard, you can use +1, +2, +3 or +4, and that also takes the rubrics. Also takes a rubric into clipboard number 1 with an intensity 1, 2, 3 or 4. Now I have not shown you yet this icon. It's the find symptom from the current. So it's when you want to find 2 or 3 symptoms which are located very near to each other in the repertory. So let's say, for example, I have milk aggravate. I start to type on the keyboard general, so GE, enter. Then food and drinks, FOO, see that's the minimum I need. I press enter. I say milk, enter. Then I say aggravate, enter, enter. And I take this one also. Now I have another symptom, butter aggravates. Now to avoid having to type the complete symptom again, I press on the keyboard